subbing. She's retired from teaching, but she subs all the time. She's
Yeah.
back subbing tomorrow again. Let's see. Got that. We can use Instagram tonight. I'm pumped about that. Let's see. We're good there. Let's go to Facebook. Now, where are you located?
I am located in a town called Northbridge, Massachusetts, which is central southern Mass. It's honestly kind of like in between Boston and Providence.
Nice. I've never been up that way. I need to get up there sometime.
Well, you got to come to Fenway.
I know, that's why I need to get up there for real. I'll take my dad there.
Yeah.
He might have been there with my sister. My sister used to be a flight attendant, and they did some games like when she was flying back in the day. Possibly.
I gotta say, I've never been to St. Louis, and I've always said I gotta get there. So
yeah, a whole lot here. Scott's coming down this weekend. He comes down every once in a while. So
yeah,
we'll be doing a live stream sometime either Friday night or Saturday night. So watch for that. We'll be having we just jump on and just mess around.
Is he there now or?
No, he's coming.
Oh, he's coming
Friday.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. He's gonna do like a Busch Stadium tour and.
Oh, nice.
All the stuff like, you know, I'm like, God, that's boring because I've lived here my whole, you know, I've been here 52 years. Like, yeah, that's what I did my whole life. But yeah, he does all this. He loves going to the stadium tours, and like they are awesome. And Busch has a great one because we have a Cardinals Hall of Fame like attached like in our stadium, and it's got all artifacts from the over 100 years of Cardinal baseball. But it's also like this year they have a Babe Ruth autographed baseball from 1926.
Oh, wow.
We're like celebrating the Cardinals winning the World Series in 26 for the 100-year anniversary.
Oh, yeah. We
played against the Yankees. So it's got really cool stuff. It's a really cool Hall of Fame. So I think you'll like that. That's a good idea.
All right. I always like that stuff too.
I love doing it. The Hall of Fame is sweet. I would like to do that. All right. So let's get it going. Oh, gotta get the notes. I got everything going. And where did I put the notes? Never find anything in Gmail. There. Okay. Ooh, we can talk about our first cruise. That's right. And my favorite ship too. All right. Here we go. Welcome to episode 2871 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you're having a great start to your week and you had an awesome Easter weekend. Hey, just in case you didn't hear, if everything is going well today, now this is pretty cool. You got to stop and think here for a second. If everything is going well today, 4 human beings from Earth are going to orbit the moon today. So just stop and think about that for a second. That has not happened in my lifetime, since 1972, is the last time humans went to the moon. I'm an old dude at this point. I used to be a spry young podcaster when we started this thing, back when podcasting was, you know, kind of new and not everybody and their uncle had a podcast. Like, I mean, there's podcasts on every commercial at this point. Buffaloes are doing podcasts during basketball games, all this stuff. Of course, tonight is the national championship game too. It's a pretty big Monday. I mean, if you're listening to the show on Monday, kudos to you. You're a super fan. But just pause and think. Not only the 4 brave humans that are hopefully getting to the moon today, they're not landing, but it's like Apollo 8. They're kind of circumnavigating the moon and going to come home, lay some groundwork for future moon missions. But the thing about spaceflight is that it is such a team effort. There's so many people that have to get to sacrifice time and their knowledge and their efforts to get them there, to make sure that these astronauts can safely get there and back. So hopefully everything's going well. We got to see that we record this obviously on Wednesdays. We got to see a beautiful launch of Artemis 2 today. And just kudos to the team that got the launch safely off the ground. They're up in orbit right now. And just again, hopefully everything's going well with this mission. In that today, when this podcast releases, we have some 4 humans, brave humans, circumnavigating the moon. I can't believe that is happening. I've heard the stories my entire life. Of course, I'm a space nut. I worked at Space Camp down in Huntsville, Alabama for a while. And taught about it, taught about the Mercury, Gemini, Apollo program, Skylab, all that stuff. Always told the stories. I learned about them. Never happened in my lifetime, but here we go again. This could be pretty sweet. So excited for that. So just take some pause today and just think about the amazing accomplishment that when people work together, people stop and pull the resources and everybody moves in the same direction. Think about that. Going to the moon. A couple hundred years ago, man didn't even think they could fly. And humans traveling faster than the speed of a bullet towards the moon. And it's amazing. Doing it again. When we've done it before, it's the crazy part. We're doing it again. So anyway, you're here for the Disney talk, but I mean, I think as Disney fans, we're dreamers. We're people that tend to think about things like this. So it's something to think about on a Monday. Okay, now back to your regularly scheduled Disney podcast. We have Eric here from Massachusetts. I believe he's kind of a space nut as well. I think everybody is here right now because we're an hour into this moon mission as we're recording. Eric, happy Monday. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for letting me go a little space crazy here at the top of the show. I couldn't help it. I got my my flight suit jacket on from my old days back at Space Camp. I'm ready to go. So happy Monday. Thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely, Mike. And I believe, yes, I am a space nut as well. And to piggyback a little bit off of what you were just saying, I believe they're also going to be as far away from Earth than anyone has ever been before. Is that right?
That is true. Because in plus, in the last, since the 70s, we've stayed in low Earth orbit. Now they're in deep space and they're going out for even further. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And again, the tech nerd in me, because there's a lot of nerd in me, right? The Disney nerd in me, the space nerd in me, the technology nerd. The pictures they're sending back, like the HD quality video, like of the launch and the space. I mean, is it real? Because even in the shuttle era, you got a little grainy stuff, like. Okay. I mean, because you're like, well, okay, it's going to be grainy and fuzzy because they're moving 17,000 miles an hour and they're so far away. Okay. We're lucky if we're getting anything that moves. No. Now it's like, it looks like, crystal clear. Like it blows your mind what we can do. It's crazy. Yeah. But you're right. They're going, I mean, it's amazing. They're so far away and they're just talking to you like they're on, calling you on an iPhone. Crazy. Anyway, so how are things up in Massachusetts? Spring is spring sprung up that way and the Sox are back to Fenway and all that good stuff?
Yes. Well, they haven't had, at the time of the record, they haven't had opening day at Fenway yet. And the Red Sox are not doing so well at first. I think they're like 1-4 at this, but it's early. It's a long season.
We did give you Contreras.
You did. Yeah. He looks good. We needed a first baseman who doesn't get injured all the time. It's 60 degrees or so today. Tomorrow's going to be rainy and whatnot. So yeah, it's typical New England weather. It's very hit or miss, 60s, 70s, and then down to the 40s, rain. As long as we're clear of the snow, I think we'll be okay.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
See you in December snow. We're good with that. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about the first Disney cruise. Lots of thoughts on that. Fantasy. Some Pixar on the cruise, a lot of thoughts there, a little Walt Disney World time on the back end. But before that, I want to get to know you a little bit. A little Disney story, not the whole podcast, but a little mini Disney story. And you kind of gave me a little background. Now, you said something in the email. Now, again, it's not on top of a space launch today is recording. It's April Fool's Day. Now, of course, it's not when this comes out. So you got to, I did get some people, by the way, on the April Fool show, which I'm glad. Magical Express not coming back. And there's not a Mexican restaurant dining plan, even though that would be sweet. I would buy that. Are you really a Foursquare champion? Are you messing with me? Are you seriously a world Foursquare champion?
I'm messing with you, Mike. Quick background. I think like a lot of us, we may, play Foursquare in recess or summer camp. And when we're, elementary school age and whatnot, which is what I did. We played Foursquare mainly during summer camps when I grew up. And it was just a really big thing for whatever reason. In our town and in our neck of the woods. And, I grew up and went to college, got a job, got married, had kids, all the things, and, kind of lost sight and lost track of Foursquare, but I always remembered it as something that was very, near and dear, and loved playing it and whatnot. And I'd play it every now and then, maybe with, my brother or my friend or whatnot, but it kind of fell off track. And then call it maybe a midlife crisis, somewhere around going into my late 30s. I'm 44 now, and I just happen to think about it and Google search it, and lo and behold, I came across the Foursquare World Championships.
Oh my God.
That happens in Central Maine, which was good for me with being in Massachusetts. I'm like, oh, okay, that's doable, that's drivable, and looked into it. And it is a legit championship that occurs every year, again in Central Maine. And I kind of at that time told myself, I'm gonna do this. I think I was pretty good, and who knows compared to whoever else shows up. But and then COVID hit, so then a couple of years obviously went by, and then it was 2023, which is when it came back, and I attended, and I won.
I'm getting such like an average Joe's team like vibe to this all of a sudden.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because nobody knew who I was when a lot of people had participated for years and years worth ahead of me, and nobody knew who I was. And again, when I ended up winning after the fact, they were kind of like, you are like an assassin out there. And so now that's my nickname in the Foursquare world, is the assassin. But honestly, Mike, it was great winning. It was magical for that to occur, but it was the camaraderie and the just meeting other people who have this kind of quirky sport, liking that I have. And honestly, I met some people that I'm still friends with, 3 years later. I now bring my 10-year-old son. We go every year and we compete together. So now it's become, just a tradition and just a fun thing for us to do. I guess I neglected to say I've also won the last 2 years. So I'm now a three-time reigning
assassin.
yeah, right.
You're not sneaking with anybody at this point.
Yeah, well, exactly. And they do have children's divisions, women's, men's, and everything. Feel free to check out foursquareworldchampionship.org. It's a website. And hey, you can be competing alongside me and anyone else. So it's a lot of fun, though.
I used to play some Foursquare. Remember, I was a sixth grade teacher for years. And I get out there and, just Foursquared up, dodgeballed up with the kids, like it's survival of the fittest out there. So back in my day, I could play a little Foursquare. I wish I'd have known about this. I wouldn't want to lose an ACL, MCL, any ACLs at this point. So
it's never too late. Never too late.
I think it is for me. Like the running has left a toll on this whole body. I can run like straight, and that's it. I can't even hardly stop at this point. So it's an iffy situation. But congratulations on that. Now, real quick, the Disney story though, because I had to get that out there, man. It's like he's either messing with me really well, or this is a great story, and it's a great story. I love it. It's amazing. Because I didn't know there was anything more obscure than inline speed skating, and that's way more obscure than that. So what's your Disney story with yourself, your kids, all that stuff that gets you listening to a Disney podcast?
Yeah. So I grew up in the 80s. And I was always, I always watched Disney Channel and, growing up, and the movies, obviously. But the thing that really got me was, I want to say probably around my son's age, I think around 11 or 12, my late grandfather, grandmother, my mom, my brother, and I, we all went to Disney World for the first time. And, just visiting the parks, probably the listeners know, when you're there, you can't really describe that, just that magical feeling. Of course, being together on vacation, ever since, and I think that was the first time I was ever on an airplane. So, that at that point on, I was in. We were able to go to Disney, maybe a couple more times when I was like a kid or a teenager. And then now, I think like you, becoming a parent is a whole new now dynamic when it comes to Disney and reliving it through, your kids' eyes. And I'm a bit of a planner. I'm a project manager during, as a full-time job. So, you know, always kind of having a Disney trip or vacation on the horizon, even if it's not like technically planned, is almost something I'm always thinking about. And obviously listening to this show has extremely, been helpful. I think we might get into it, but just the fact that I went on the Disney Fantasy and went on a cruise in and of itself was honestly thanks to listening to this show, because I would probably never would have done a cruise if it wasn't for a lot of, what I've heard on this show. I kind of like you, I think a creature of habit. It's like, oh, Disney World is so great. I only maybe get to go about 4 or 5 times, every 4 or 5 years. It's obviously a lot of commitment, a lot of money, right? I don't want to do something that I may not like. And obviously I did, and I'm so glad that I did. So that's kind of my
problem. Again, that's the problem with like a lot of my whole Disney situations, right? I mean, even with like my restaurants, when I go to Walt Disney World, like, man, if I try something new, I'm not going to be able to, I have to give up one of the places I love going to every trip. And, like with a hotel, like if I go down, if I stay at Coronado again, I don't get to try. I could go to Animal Kingdom Lodge this trip, but I love Coronado so much. But I've been at Coronado the last 3 times, but I love it. It is that, because I'm just, you nailed it. I am such a creature of habit. I eat the same thing for lunch every single day, except the weekends. It's just like, I try to break out, but then I don't. My wife's the same way. We'll go to a restaurant. She'll be like, because we go to the same restaurants almost every, night, the same night of the week. And she's like, tonight I'm going to get, and she'll say that, like when she looks at the menu, then the waitress or waiter will come and she'll order the same thing. She always goes like, you always say you're going to get something different, and then you order your good old standby like me. So I get it. It's the same thing. Okay. So you kind of mentioned you weren't like, you were curious. So the podcast we talk, and sorry, Scott and I we talk cruising like all the time, not just on the podcast. It's what we do. We do truly love cruising, but like the first Disney cruise, you had a lot of Walt Disney World knowledge, but what was your project manager? So how did you do the research and decide and land on this particular cruise, the Fantasy, and how much input, because your kids are older too, like how much input did your kids have, and like how did this all come together?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first step I made was deciding that I actually want to do the cruise versus go to Disney World, because it got to that. I think I mentioned approximately every 4 or 5 years is when, where I'm able to, to make that vacation happen. And it got to around that time frame. And honestly, again, listening to this show is what really kind of helped me decide that I wanted to try out the cruise. And then as far as, what going on the Fantasy and the itinerary and whatnot, I kind of centered it a little bit around kids' school vacations or days off. My son plays hockey, so kind of thinking about, when I don't want to go during playoff time, or my daughter is, does dance and things like that. So a lot of that factored in just our own internal kind of schedule. So I kind of narrowed it down on maybe 2-3 different time frames, and then connected with you to kind of go through the different options, pricing, itinerary, things like that. And I just kind of, I did not ask the kids, because I actually wanted to surprise them, which I did. It wasn't a surprise when it happened, but I surprised them. I want to say it was about 6 months or so before the cruise. But I wanted to have it all planned out and ready to go for them to basically tell them what we're doing. And, of course they were thrilled. Although I do remember when I surprised them and told them about it, they thought that it was happening like the next day. And I remember them saying like, wait, when are we going? That's like 6 months away. So, but for me, that's part of the fun, is the journey to get there. And, and then I use that amount, that time, kind of just putting together. I know a lot of your listeners do this, a spreadsheet of tips and tricks. And again, especially with this being my first time, and like you said, being at the parks many times, you kind of know some of the things to do, but being the first time, I just didn't know what I didn't know. So listening to your podcast, going online, looking at YouTube videos, stuff like that really helped out.
So I would ask this at the end, but I'll just ask this. I'll probably forget at the end. I'm terrible about that. But being somebody who is, and we get all the spreadsheet people. I mean, I'm telling you, because like the folks listening to podcasts are just, we're all in. I mean, I listen to a lot of Disney podcasts, listen to a lot of podcasts in general on different topics, Apple, tech, sports, retro stuff. That means you're in at the highest level. If you're like listening to 2 hours about lunchbox collecting from the 70s or something, it's crazy. It's craziness. So you get the spreadsheet people, right? But did you, I think the hardest thing for somebody going on a Disney cruise, especially for the first time, that's like a spreadsheet Walt Disney World person, did it kind of freak you out that there's so little to do in the planning for a Disney cruise? Like, or did you kind of feel like you're waking up like, man, I should be doing something today?
It did. It did. I mean, again, listening to the show, I knew a little bit to what to expect, that it's a different type of vacation. It's both are fantastic, but it's just different. A lot more relaxation. But that being said, I will say, I mean, if you wanted to do something all day long on a cruise, you could. I mean, there's just so many, things that you could be doing, not just the pool, the water slides and the excursions, but just the game shows, the taste testings, the karaoke, the all the things. I mean, you could be bouncing from one thing to another. So we did find it that we did kind of want to, maybe take a look at the schedule that day. And maybe pick, okay, these are the 3 things that we definitely want to make sure that we're doing. And then, this would be nice if we get to it, or that would be good if we can, but we didn't sweat over the fact if we maybe missed a few things, which we absolutely did, but we missed them because we were doing other things that was fun as well. Yeah.
That's the way to go about it. All right. So let's hit the highlights here. So how was it as far as like getting down there and arrival and embarkation and all that stuff, and like your first time seeing a Disney Cruise Line ship? I mean, I've been on over 20 cruises with Disney Cruise Line and all the ships except the Adventure, and I still almost get goosebumps every time I see the ship for the first time. Like when I see the funnels, like when I'm at Port Canaveral and I go over the humps and see them for that. No better feeling. Scott and I talk about that all the time. Doesn't matter how many cruises you've been on. Like, see them in the distance, like, oh, that's my ship.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't have anything to compare it to. And well, I've been on one cruise in my life for a long time ago, 15, 20 years ago. It wasn't a Disney cruise, but other than that, I don't really have anything to compare it to from a cruise standpoint. So yeah, I know what you mean now, kind of driving and like kind of, looking out the window and looking for, are we there yet? Are we there? You kind of feel like a kid, and then you finally see the ship and it's getting bigger and bigger as you're getting there. It's just majestical. I mean, getting on the ship, it was, again, I knew it was coming. My kids didn't, when they kind of announce your name and everybody kind of claps and everything. That was, super, very fun. And then, once we got on, we went and we got lunch. We, checked into our room, kind of settled in a little bit, and then we did the sail away party. I will say that the weather wasn't super cooperative while we were there. It wasn't horrible, but I mean, it was on the warm side, especially us coming from Massachusetts in mid-January. Anything above 40 degrees was warm, and it was in the 70s, but it was a little overcast, maybe a little sprinkly at times on those first few days we were on the cruise. But honestly, that didn't really impact us much. I mean, the kids didn't care. They still went in the pool. They still did the water slides. The sail away party was great. I did find it interesting though, because I wanted to ask you actually, during the sail away party, are we supposed to be literally sailing away, or is it just kind of called that? Because we didn't sail away when the sail away party was happening, but maybe that's common, or maybe there was just a little delay on the actual.
Usually you are sailing away. It depends on the order the ships are given clearance to leave the port, because it depends how many ships are in port. Because usually I am most of the time when I'm on the ship, usually you are sailing away, but I've had a couple where you're not. Like, because sometimes there could be like 6 or 7 ships in in the Port Canaveral, you're Canaveral, right? Or were you
Yeah.
Lauderdale?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So in Canaveral, yeah, if you're like the sixth ship to go out, I mean, they could, because they'll just do it whatever time, and like you might not be moving at that point. But yeah,
I got you. Okay.
typically you are moving, yeah, because you look, because I'll look down and be like, oh, we're moving, and you look back to the stage, and ideally you are moving, but yeah, there are times where you're not.
Okay. All right. I was just curious about that, but I mean, that other than that, then we kind of got the lay of the land, went just walked around, because again, this was our first time, so we didn't really know, where a lot of things were. Actually, my son and I found, what's the name of it? The Irish pub that's on Fantasy.
Gills, my favorite.
Gills, yes, yeah. So we found it was the only place that at the time the Patriots were in the playoffs, New England Patriots. So we found that game on there. So that was a couple of other Patriot fans. So that was fun to kind of have that camaraderie. And then my daughter did the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. She's 12, so it was right at the edge of the age range of when they allow that. And I was actually even a little surprised when she said she wanted to do it, but I'm like, yes, because I'm just thinking in my head, okay, she's gonna no longer want to do these things here pretty soon. So yeah, soak that all in. And I think we ate Animator's Palette that first night, which was that was my favorite out of all the three. And then we did the Aladdin show, and my daughter was again in her Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique stuff, so that it just made it that much more special.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, it's a great first day there. Now, let's talk about, okay, so you're sailing away. It's a Bahamian cruise. Your kids are 12 and 10, so they're kind of getting the whole lay of the land. You are too, and you're kind of, the first day you're kind of just finding your way through. You got the muster drill to take care of. Yep. Hoping everybody's nervous about their bags getting delivered, and they always show up, and you're like, oh my gosh, we're missing one suitcase. It always happens, but they always show up. So day 2, you kind of like finally like, okay, we wake up on the ship, we got a full day. So day 2, was this a day at sea, or I'm trying to see, because you got a lot going on. It was. Okay, so how did you tackle the day at sea? It looks like was this a Pixar cruise?
It was. Yep, it was a Pixar day, which I didn't know until after the fact, but I think may have been the first time that there was or maybe it's not every cruise that
no, they don't do many of these. That's why
they don't do that. Okay,
there's not many. Yeah.
Okay. So we again, the day was a little questionable in terms of weather, which again didn't slow the kids down, but we did see a lot of the characters. I think Mike Wazowski and Mickey and the Incredibles. So we spent a lot of time kind of doing that. And we did some trivia. We did mini golf. Again, it was different, but in a good way. Then going to the parks, because it wasn't, I try to get as much in at the parks as possible. And I know like you go quite often. So I know you've mentioned before that, you're just kind of going with the flow and you do certain things. But since we don't go to the parks as often and, we got to get to everything. But this one, we just, kind of took it slow and went from one thing to the other. Like I said earlier, we kind of decided on a few like things we definitely wanted to do. And that's kind of, that's basically what we did. I got to circle back a little bit here to Foursquare, because I gotta say that, so you're on the app, right? And you're looking through the schedule and, you're obviously kind of looking ahead to see, okay, what can we do, next hour? What can we do later this afternoon? And of course, what was on there? Foursquare.
You gotta be kidding. You're like, oh my God, the assassins on this cruise.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing, Mike. It was only for kids.
Oh, thank God.
So my son went.
The assassin's son is on this cruise.
Yeah, he went. So he kind of represented us there, but and it was it was deep in the kids club. So like I wasn't even able to go in and like look at it, but he reported back and said that he had a good time. He did complain a little bit just because he is, I guess he's as competitive as I am. And he was saying how, but they play different rules than what we're used to. I'm like, well, that's the nature of this game. Big guy.
In international waters, and they wanted everybody to win. I mean,
exactly. Right. Yeah.
That'd have been my kid too. Oh, that'd have been my kid. Paige would have been like that way. I signed up for a real competition. I wanted
Yeah.
winners and losers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that kills me. So that day at sea is fun. I will say, you said it was windy. That mini golf is tough at a day at sea because it's so windy. Ping pong. That's what now that is because people are saying like, what does the wish class do better? That's one thing the wish class does better because they have all their ping pong, air hockey, all that. I don't think they have mini golf, but they have air hockey. They have bags, basketball hoops. It's all inside. It's like a gymnasium.
Oh yeah.
That is the better thing because I've tried to play mini golf up there on a day at sea. And I mean, it's hard enough playing mini golf like when conditions are great, but when there's like a 30-mile-an-hour side wind, yeah, all bets are off. You're just lucky to keep the ball, on the ship, or especially ping pong. So you guys play trivia? Aren't the trivias and things like? I love the kind of minor activities that happen, like the trivias and stuff. Like, did you guys do anything outside of that, like throughout the cruise? Like they've told Alpha.
We did.
Shows,
yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, the trivias are great. We did Pixar trivia. We did a sports trivia. I think there was like some specific like inside. Maybe it was a Pixar day. Maybe been like a Inside Out and an Incredibles trivia, like specific to that. Though, and then there were also some like game shows as well, which was super fun. And it's funny because like my daughter, she's a little bit more reserved and kind of likes to just like watch, whereas my son, he's definitely more of a personality, if you will, and he was very much wanting to get selected, and in some of these game shows where they kind of pick people from in attendance, and obviously it's not like they can pick everybody, but I was thinking to myself during the cruise, I really hope that CJ at least gets picked once. And of course the magic dust, the pixie dust must have sprinkled upon us, because I think it was one of we're jumping around a little bit in terms of days, but I think it was one of the last days we were there. We did a game show. It was actually a family game show. And both him and I got selected to be on the show. And basically, they may have like 3 families, and basically they ask questions like, what's your favorite fruit, or what's your favorite Disney movie? And like you had to kind of write it down, and then the other person, had to guess what the other person was going to select, and then you show and that was just so much fun. And we ended up, well, I think we tied because the other family had as many points as we did, but we got this little medal and everything. And those are just the little things that, I think you mention all the time, like months later, those are the things that we're talking about. I just, in anticipation of being on this show, I just asked both of them, hey, what was your favorite thing about the cruise? My daughter said the water slides, and my son said all of the ice cream, because my goodness, Mike, we went to town on the ice cream, and I gave them a free pass. I gave them a free pass before we got there. I said, hey, listen, we're on vacation. Usually, you only have one ice cream, a day, if that, not even, maybe during the summer. But
you're a good parent.
Yeah, every time we walked by that, and sometimes we specifically went there just for I'm talking 6-7 ice creams a day. It's amazing that they didn't get sick, but again, that, hey, if he's going to remember that as one of his favorite things, and it was all worth it.
He's a hockey player. I'm telling you, hockey players burn 7,000 calories a day. You're good.
You're right. Totally.
I remember those days. Okay, now let's talk about. Okay, day 3. It looks like Lookout Key. So we got to talk about that. But first, you guys breakfasted Royal Court, I believe, on. I always get the names. So many ships nowadays. There used to only be 4. Oh my gosh, I'm so old. But so you wake up and you have a sit down breakfast at Royal Court, and then you head out to the island. Now, of course, first Disney cruise, you haven't even been to Castaway, so you go to the new island before you've ever been to the island. What did you think of the island, though? What your kids think, and everybody's thought of a Lookout?
Well, first of all, I gotta say the walk to get there is it's not challenging. It's a good walk. But I knew that going in. So, and then once we got there, actually, that's when the sun came out. It was the first time the sun came out in maybe 2 days. So it was perfect because there's this little water slide kids activity area, and that's what my kids wanted to do. So it was perfect that they were able to spend probably about an hour there just playing while I kind of just monitored them and sat there kind of close to the beach. I found Lookout Cay to be really neat. And then we went again. I don't have anything to compare it to. To your point, I've never been to Castaway, so I don't know how to compare those two things. But we had a blast, and then they served a barbecue lunch as well. So I mean, we spent a good portion of the day there, and then of course came back, and even though they were doing water slides and in the pool most of the time at Lookout Cay, they then wanted to move on and do the aqueduct a couple thousand more times. So
if I was a kid, I'd want to do the same. Like, yeah. I mean, it's a ride, right? I mean, it's back on the ship, and you can get off, get ice cream. You gotta get back to the ice cream machine.
It's right there, exactly.
I mean, but they do have them on the island too. They ice cream. Yeah. Right? And that kids play area right there on Lookout, man, they nailed it. Now that is better than anything at Castaway. They nailed that on Lookout. I'll tell you that. I
love the look and feel of it, like the brand and design. It's very kind of that tropical, that tropical feel. Yeah, that was definitely the highlight. I mean, in hindsight, I wish I maybe spent a little bit of time on the beach, because just having the clear water, the white sand. But I wasn't gonna leave them and do that. But there's always next time. So
yeah, when you get 10 and a 12-year-old, you gotta kind of be with it. It's like seeing 6 hours. That's not a good idea. for real, like especially when they're all hyped up on 28 ice cream cones. Okay, so now, that night though, I got to ask you about this. Believe. Okay, so I got to get your thoughts, parent, on the show. Dad, Believe. What'd you think of that show?
I mean, I have 2 daughters. My oldest daughter is in college. Actually, she goes to UMaine, but she didn't come with us. But being a dad of 2 daughters, oh my goodness, it was fantastic. I don't have words. It was. I mean, I mentioned earlier that what my kids' favorite things were. My favorite by far were the shows, not just Believe, but Aladdin and Frozen, I think, was the other one. Just amazing production. The singing, the acting. I mean, everything was so good. And again, Believe. Believe is just underrated because it's not an Aladdin, it's not a Frozen, it's not a Tangled or Beauty and the Beast. Some of the ones that are more known and common, and it's not they integrate almost a lot of the other movies into it. But I highly recommend it.
Yeah, for me, I think you're exactly right. Like, it's not tied to like the IP of like all the big movies and so forth, but like Believe, I've been watching that on the Disney Cruise Line since Mallory was little, and like now she's going away to school. I mean, whatever. How can you let your garden grow or whatever? It's just like, dude, stop. Like, I think it's a weapon of mass destruction for me, man, because it just destroys me. It's like a heat-seeking missile right at me, and I'm just like, nobody look at me, man. Nobody look at me. No, I'm not balling here. I can't.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not crying. You're crying. I know.
Let's take the show. Like, you gotta stop. Stop singing, Mr. Guy up there, and you're, trying to, you Mr. Inventor guy with your, smock. I can't. Stop, please. I gotta go get ice cream. Okay, let's go to the next day. So the next day, you guys get to the Bahamas. You did the dolphin encounter at the Bahamas. Now, I've never really done a whole lot in the Bahamas. Good or bad? I mean, give us the honest opinion on that. People always ask.
We liked it a lot. I mean, that was one of my son's biggest things, is he really wanted to meet a dolphin. So we did the dolphin encounter. Man, they are athletic. My goodness. They're on one side, and all of a sudden they're flipping up on the other side. Pretty impressive stuff. But it was fun. The only thing that it didn't end up being an issue, but when we arrived, that's when we found out, when we arrived on the island, that's when we found out the time of when the dolphin encounter occurred. And it was I want to say it was like 3 or 4 hours into it. So we didn't really plan for that, which was fine. But then when it was over, we had to sprint back to make sure that we weren't left behind. So again, we made it. We didn't get left behind, thank goodness. But that added to a little bit of stress. But the encounter was fun. Yeah, it was a good time, and we got some pretty good pictures as well.
We also call that an amazing race simulation and a family bonding experience. Like, there's that ship. Is it moving yet? Nope. Okay, we have a chance. Nobody keep moving.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, my son and I are running. My daughter's, kind of behind us. I'm like, never leave a good soldier behind.
Exactly. if you walk, we will.
Yeah.
No walking. Okay, so pirate night on the ship. So did you guys enjoy how the ship kind of transformed the music in the hallways and the corridors? You get the bandanas, and it takes on a different vibe throughout the night. Then you get into, dinner's different. Everybody served the pirate menu in all the restaurants, and then of course on deck at night. What'd you think of the whole pirate night experience?
Yeah, love the theme. Love the again, the Pixar theme, and then having pirate theme there on that day. We did bring some bandanas, some eye patch. We didn't really use the eye patch. That was more for pictures, but we were going to walk into something. But we participated when it with minorly in regards to that, and the pirate show at the end of the night with the fireworks and everything. I just loved it. Trying to think too if there was something else on that.
So did you guys went to the early pirate show, like the Buccaneer Blast with the Mickey one, and then you also came back for the second one with fireworks?
We did, yeah, we did both of them exactly. Yep.
Nice, that's a good idea.
Yeah. This wasn't pirate related, but I mentioned earlier my son really wanted to see a dolphin. My daughter really wanted to see Stitch, so we made sure we saw Stitch that day. It happened to be Pirate Day, and it was funny because Stitch also had the theme of having an eye patch and kind of a pirate attire, if you will. So that was cool.
Stitch is a lot less expensive to see on a Disney cruise than a dolphin.
Yes.
When your daughter did Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, so it all,
it all came together, right?
Daughter's always going to be more expensive every single time, just from experience. Okay, day 5. So this day looks so. Oh, you started this one off, Royal Gathering. I think this is one of the coolest things. Now you got to sign up for it, but I love how you can just kind of boom, 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 go right down the line, meet all the princesses. And I'll tell you what, because my girls are they've aged out of it, right? They're I hate to say it's 18 and 29 at this point. And I'm only 30. It's crazy. But I like to just kind of walk by the atrium from one of the higher levels and just look down, and you just watch these kids meeting the princesses. And I mean, it's like watching a live Disney commercial. It is. I mean, it's just like they're meeting their heroes, like just boom, 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 boom. Like you can just watch any, like you can watch Ariel or Tiana or Cinderella, like just pick one or just watch them all. Like it's just a constant flow of Disney commercial. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, did you enjoy that kind of experience? I think that's one of the best things they do.
Oh, most definitely. And, for me, seeing, again, my 12-year-old, kind of that tween level, right? Where she's on the cusp of teenage, angst, but still a kid. So this definitely brought the kid back in her, and, seeing her see the princesses and, having that special time. But to your point, Mike, it may have been, again, skipping around a little bit a few days prior. We were up on one of the decks. Was it maybe deck 5, where you kind of look over the atrium, and we witnessed, I've heard you talk about this. We witnessed I forget what it's called, but the baby race.
Oh, the diaper dash, the best thing.
Dash, yes.
On the babies.
Yes, and I think it happened to occur on Pixar theme day. So it was kind of Pixar theme. So they were talking about baby Jack and all the things. Yeah, that was really fun to see. So we kind of witnessed that from the top of the deck there.
Yeah, just make sure no money is exchanged in international waters. Now, it looks like, now you said there was a scavenger hunt happening this day. What was that all about?
Oh, so that was one of the interactive scavenger hunt features that they have, where you get like a little card, and there's these TV displays throughout the ship, and they give you clues. So if you stand in front of it, it somehow kind of knows that you're there, and then it pops up with a clue, and you have to go to like different decks and find different TV displays.
I know you're talking about the midship detective agency with
yes,
see that thing, that's gonna walk you 12 miles on the ship if you do.
Oh my goodness, yeah, we went up and down, up and down.
Exactly. That's called Richard Simmons aerobics back then. No, it's really cool. Yeah, that thing will send you all. If you need to walk off an extra ice cream cone, detective agency. It's awesome because it'll send you all over that shit. It's really cool because that thing is just all over the place. So you finish off the Frozen show that night. Now, I do like how, like, you know, nobody wants to get off the ship, but they kind of bring the cruise to conclusion there at the See You Real Soon celebration. What did you guys think about that kind of? It's sad, but I mean, it
was a perfect like cherry on the cake, right? A cherry on the ice. It was just. You know, you put in all this planning, you put in all, you know, this effort and you know, and expenses and things like that. And finally, you know, this is the last night, and, you know, it, as always, it flies by, right? You know, I'm sitting there with my two kids, you know, experiencing the See You Real Soon celebration with the singing and the dancing. I mean, I think confetti comes down, and as always, Disney just does it right. And you know, it's these moments, you know, it's the moments that really do it. And it was perfect. Now we did end up, this was another surprise. We did end up going to Disney World when we got back the next day on land, and we did a quick 1 day Disney World extravaganza, I guess you can say, because we went to every single park in 1 day. So that was interesting, but we pulled it off somehow.
So let's talk about that. Well, real quick before we wrap up the cruise.
Sorry, I was jumping in.
You mentioned you mentioned something about pixie dusting. Now, did you guys did you guys do that? Because the first time cruiser, I'm shocked you were even aware of like that. Thing, because like you know, like the fish extender thing, usually people don't know about on the first cruise. The pixie dusting thing, you know, usually it's kind of like a veteran cruiser type thing. You guys,
luckily, I have this wonderful show to listen to.
Exactly. I shouldn't have doubted you. I mean, but dude, you were like in black belt level on cruise one, and I applaud you.
Oh, I mean, I think the tip of the hat goes right back to you. But I mean, honestly, that's how I knew about it. And it was last second. I want to say it was like a week or so before. I'm like, oh, I gotta purchase one of those. It's kind of like those. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and to put it on the door. So, and it came in like 2 days before we were leaving. I'm like, perfect. I'm like, I don't even know exactly how this works. Like, you know, I think we brought maybe some stickers and just little things like that. Honestly, like, that was one of the funnest things that my kids loved, is every time, you know, we had a full day's worth of fun and doing this and doing that. And then the fun doesn't end, because then when you get back to your room, you know, seeing all the little different trinkets and toys and I mean, honestly, they're, you know, just tiny little things that they're not going to really use after, you know, but
it's cool.
It's just cool to have all that stuff waiting for them. And, you know, it's the anticipation of it as well the next day. So I made sure that I'm like, all right, that's great that we got stuff, but for every 5 that we get, 1 needs to be, you know, shared with somebody else. So we would then go around and put it in somebody else's fish extender basket. So that was
cool. I'm glad you mentioned. I'm glad we got to talk about that, because hopefully the thing will continue. And you know what? Bring some ducks on your next cruise and give out the ducks, because if I'm on your cruise, I'm gonna be looking for those things. I'm bringing them next time and hiding them, because I feel guilty. I've taken way too many ducks out of the system. If it was just me, the ducks would be extinct, because I have ducks everywhere around here, and I have not put any back in the system, and I feel terribly guilty about that. But I'm putting them back in. Okay, so we got a few more minutes. We got to talk about, you did 4 days. So the cruise was chill. I mean, it sounds like, you guys did a lot, but man, you guys, like, you went right back into your old ways. 4 parts a day. Let's go. Okay, so tell me about Your spreadsheet, man. Let's go. What was your strategy here? You got laid out. How'd you decide this was going to work? How'd you?
All right. So I asked the kids, I'm like, all right, this is after. So on the last night of the cruise, I said, tomorrow, we're not going home. We're going to Disney. And of course, that went over. That they were thrilled about that. Actually, technically, when we arrived on that day, we went to Coronado Springs, which again, thanks to you, is the reason why we went with that one. I've never stayed there before. It's wonderful. And then we stayed that night, and then the next day is when we went to Disney. By the way, that evening when we were at Coronado, we also went to Old Key West.
Yeah, I know. Olivia's like, you're living my best life. You're on my favorite ship. You're eating my favorite meal. You're over at Olivia.
Oh, I did have the buttermilk chicken.
Oh you're living my best life.
Which came as advertised. So that was great. And I've never been to Old Key West either. So again, these are things where it's like, I get to get a little taste of it. And now maybe next time we can stay there. But and then the next day. So I asked the kids, I'm like, which park do you want to go to? We only got one day. Of course, they didn't agree. One said Epcot, the other said Magic Kingdom. And I really wanted to do Hollywood Studios because there were a few things there I wanted to do. So then I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's do the park hopper thing. Let's just pick like 2 rides at each place, and let's try to get to every one of them. That was the plan, and we ended up doing Animal Kingdom first because they opened earlier, and we rope dropped, and we got there right when they opened. I think we did the 2 Avatar rides there. Then we went over to Hollywood Studios, got there probably by, I don't know, noon, kicked out a couple of rides there, Slinky Dog, Tower of Terror, and the Alien Saucer. Then we went over to Epcot, and of course we used the Skyliner. We did the Ratatouille ride, grabbed some lunch, which, by the way, I gotta say, at Connections, I'm not too much of a foodie, but the barbecue pizza at Connections, have you ever had?
Because I always get there's like a salad there that has like some kind of like General Tso's chicken on it, and there's also a chicken sandwich there. It tastes just like Chick-fil-A. It's pretty good.
Okay.
See, I'm like you. I don't need fancy food, but a barbecue pizza. Oh,
it was amazing.
You're talking my love language, because my wife and I used to get one of those at California Pizza Kitchen at the mall.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh! Now you got my attention.
It's a huge slice too.
Oh, it was now you really got my attention.
Yeah. We did that, and then we probably got to Magic Kingdom around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, and we did the new Tiana's Splash Mountain, did the Seven Dwarfs ride, and then of course we had to do the Starlight Parade and kick it all off at the end with Happily Ever After. It was truly, I mean, my legs and feet are like hurting just thinking and talking about it because it was a lot, but it was well worth it. And again, not something I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd recommend doing that typically, but it was just because we had the one day, and we just focused on some of our highlights.
Yeah, I do 4 parks in a day once a year, but I get a medal and a set of ears. It's called a marathon.
Yeah. Unofficial marathon. Yeah,
exactly. That's why I got all these years behind me and these medals. But what do you guys think? I mean, what a way though with your kids to end with Starlight and Happily Ever After. I mean, that's like the perfect conclusion. I mean, like you got to see you real soon on the ship, but then you get the Walt Disney World, like sending you home with the hug. It kind of the same way. First time seeing Starlight, what'd you think of the parade?
I mean, I remember when I was a kid doing the electrical parade, and I always, ever since they took that away, I'm like, sometimes you have like these kind of themed shows where you talk about, what's something that you want them to bring back. I'm always saying to myself, the electric parade. Yeah. So the it's very similar to that. And it was, I think it was the Moana float was amazing. But they were all, it was awesome. And then we had a really good seats, really good view of the fireworks and the castle show and everything, and seeing Tinkerbell do her thing, because it's been about 5 years since we had been, to Disney World. And I want to say, I mean, my son was maybe 4 years old, and he probably didn't even really remember much. So in a lot of ways, we experienced a lot of that, for the first time. And again, it's those moments and memories that we'll always remember.
You said it so well. Now, as we wrap here, look, you got caught too because that was when they had the big winter storm up in the Northeast. You got stuck down for 3 more. What'd you do for those 3 days?
Oh my goodness! At first, we were like, one more day in Florida, that's not so bad, right? So, I will say that for budget purposes, we did venture off a Disney property on that day and just kind of stayed at another resort in Orlando. Which was great, which was fun. They had a pool. We were good for that day. And then when our second flight got canceled, and then our third flight got canceled, we ended up having to drive to Jacksonville because that's where we thought we were going to fly out of, and then that got canceled. It was,
oh my gosh,
it was. We started getting a little bit on each other's nerves, but you know how that goes. But looking back,
like your kids talk about that at Thanksgiving, like in 15 years.
Oh my goodness!
That's like the trains and automobiles trip. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely, we will be taught. I mean, of course, the best part was the cruise and Disney World and all those things. But that they even now, and I'm sure years from now, that'll be part of the. Hey, remember that time we got stuck in Florida? And so yeah, it's those little things, and obviously we ended up getting home fine, and maybe a few extra bucks between the additional meals and hotel stays and things like that. But again, it's well worth the memories and everything. So
last question before we jump out of here, and this has been a great show. I appreciate it so much, man, because this warms my heart. But like now that you guys have been home for a couple of months, and the kids probably talk about it here and there. Mm-hmm. We all do, like driving to sports practice or what have you in the car, sitting around at home eating dinner. Like, has anything caught you by surprise? The kids have said, like, looking back on the memories of the cruise or the trip together, like, or for you, like reflecting back, now that some time's passed, was there a special, like, just off, like a surprising moment that, it's not just always the day at the beach or something like that. Was there something like a little story or a little, something the kids really enjoyed that stuck out, kind of looking back on the cruise, on the trip? That's a tough question, but it is. It's like sometimes it's the small moments that mean.
Yeah. Nothing is jumping out to me right now. I mean, a lot of which I've kind of talked. I mean, we still talk about the family game show, that we were doing, and my daughter Des will say, like, I'm glad I didn't get selected, but it was great watching you, because what happened was in that show was the last question was who in your family is the messiest? And in my opinion, that answer was extremely easy. It was our oldest daughter, Tristan. You can never even see her floor because there's clothes and everything all over the place. And CJ ended up answering himself. So we got that one wrong. We would have ended up winning versus tying to win. So, just like little things like that we still talk about. Yeah, I sorry, I don't have the best answer on that. But
it is, because it gives you that thing to talk about, and you just like, because when you're riding in the car and you have kids, preteens, and then they become teens, you have to have those shared experiences to go back on and say, like, a song can come on the radio, like you'll maybe hear, some Disney song that pops up or something like that. And you're like, oh man, last time we heard that, we were on the Fantasy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, but remember that was the time we got stuck in Jacksonville. We thought we were home that day. We were in a Motel 6. And it's like, oh yeah, 5 years ago then. It's just, but that's why you leave the house and travel, though, to be honest. I mean, good or bad, you got to get out there and see the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's almost like in 3 stages. Every vacation, it's the preparation, the journey to get there. Like, oh, I can't wait. How many more days? A countdown. Then it's the actual vacation. But then it's after the fact too. Like you said, talking about it during dinner or hey, remember that time we rode this? Or remember that time we did this? or looking at pictures and videos. I try to put together all the pictures and make like a something and slap it on YouTube, and we can watch it, for a family movie night. We love doing that. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Eric, I appreciate taking the time to make our Monday awesome. Got to take us on the Disney Fantasy, a crazy day at Walt Disney World, and nobody getting stuck in Florida with snow for a little while. Let's hope. That'd be bad at this time of the year. And have fun with Wilson Contreras. We had our experiment with him here in St. Louis. He's a crazy guy.
Yeah. Well, we hopefully he starts turning it around a little bit, but I'm sure again, it's a long season. Mike, thank you so much for having me on the show. Again, everything that I listen to the show regularly, and I appreciate all the positivity and all the tips and tricks. I certainly use them for sure during our vacation, but thank you for all that you do. And let's hope that all's good with the astronauts coming back. And thanks everybody.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we're surrounded by positive people. That's why the show's always so positive. I mean, it's just we're very, very lucky, and I don't forget that every single day. We've been so blessed. So, Eric, thank you. You have a great week, and we're going to get out of here and wish everybody a great Monday and an awesome week. Don't forget, the show is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We're standing by right now to help you plan an amazing Disney adventure, whether it's to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, even sailing with Disney Cruise Line. Just swing by the website this week over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Just click through there anytime you do your online shopping, and that will support our podcast. Thank you so much for that. And you can support us on Patreon. It's $5 a month. It's like a cup of coffee a month. It's probably, my daughter's coffees are probably more than $5. I don't even know, because she has her own job and goes to a place called Seven. I don't drink coffee, but who knows? Patreon's $5 a month. And when you support us, you get a podcast every week called Mike in the Midwest. And it's just all about stories growing up here in the Midwest. So coming over, we'd love to have your support. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. And thanks to everybody who supports us over there already. You can join us in our Discord. That's where we all hang out 24/7, talking Disney, talking life. It's an awesome group of people. No negativity over there. Just come on over. Your invitation's waiting. BeOurGuestPodcast.com/clubhouse. Love to see you there. And Sunday night, we'll have our live call-in show. That'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch. You can tune in any of those places. And finally, give me a follow on the social media. I'm on Instagram, x.com, and Threads at BeOurGuestMike. All right, until we get back together again on Wednesday with your list of questions, I'm Mike, your Missouri, for Eric out in Mass. You guys have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. So I had the news on, and then the news ended, and now that dumb show with the Masked Singer's on, and there's like, it's the dumbest thing in the history. Like, no wonder our society's so dumb. Like, I pop my head up, and there's like somebody singing with like this planet Saturn on their head. Now there's
from one thing to another, it's like, oh, this epic, space adventure
going to the moon. And then I look up at my next thing, and there's like a cat that looks like Saturn with a microphone. I'm like, and I'm trying to do the ad read. I'm trying to keep track of what I'm saying. I'm like, I think that's a Saturn singing. Or like, is it a cat? Because then there's a cat popping up next to it. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I need to turn the TV off at 7. The news ended. All right, Eric, I'm going to edit this thing up. It'll be out Monday. And I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And we'll have to do this after your next trip.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again. And thanks for all your help with the trip and everything. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And you guys have a safe Easter and have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.